The Awakening. In the vast emptiness of uncharted space, a derelict ship drifted silently. Its hull, once gleaming, now bore the scars of countless micrometeorite impacts and the corrosive touch of cosmic radiation. This was the CSS Prometheus, humanity's last hope, launched in desperation as Earth faced annihilation 50,000 years ago. Inside the ship's cavernous hold, rows upon rows of cryopods stood in eerie silence. Each pod contained a human, frozen in time, unaware that they were the last of their kind. Suddenly, after millennia of dormancy, emergency lights flickered to life. The ship's AI, awakened from its long slumber. Warning: critical power failure imminent. Initiating emergency revival protocols. AI's synthetic voice echoed through the empty corridors. In Cryopod A001, Captain Alina Reyes gasped as her eyes snapped open. The cryostasis fluid drained away, leaving her disoriented and weak. As her pod opened with a hiss, she stumbled out, coughing and shivering. "Welcome back, Captain Reyes." Aria's voice greeted her. "I apologize for the abrupt awakening, but we face a dire situation." Alina's mind raced, trying to piece together fragmented memories. "Aria, how long?" She managed to croak. "Approximately 50,000 years have passed since our departure from Earth, Captain." The weight of those words hit Alina like a physical blow. 50,000 years. Everyone she had ever known, everything she had ever loved, was gone. As the realization sank in, more cryopods began to open around her. Dr. Xander Callis, the ship's chief scientist, emerged from his pod, followed by Security Officer Ava Chen and Engineer Tarek Nasser. As the senior crew members regained their senses, AI briefed them on the situation. "Our power reserves are critically low," the AI explained. "I was forced to awaken you to make decisions about our next course of action. We are in uncharted space, far from any known star systems." Alina, still grappling with the enormity of their situation, took a deep breath and steeled herself. "What about the rest of the crew?" "I'm afraid I could only safely awaken the four of you with our remaining power," Aria replied. "The other 996 crew members remain in stasis, but without a new power source, their pods will fail within days." Xander, his scientific mind already racing, asked, "Aria, what's the nearest potential power source?" The AI paused before responding. "There is a star system approximately 2 light-years from our current position. However, I detect artificial structures orbiting its planets. It appears to be inhabited." The crew exchanged wary glances. They had hoped to find an uninhabited world to colonize, not to make first contact in their weakened state. Ava, ever the pragmatist, spoke up. "We don't have a choice. It's either risk encountering aliens or watch the rest of our people die in their sleep." Alina nodded grimly. "Aria, set a course for that star system. We'll have to take our chances." As the Prometheus limped towards its destination, the awakened crew worked tirelessly to restore critical systems and prepare for potential first contact. Days later, as they approached the outer edges of the alien star system, they received their first transmission. "Unknown vessel, you have entered Galactic Council space. Identify yourself immediately," a stern voice demanded in perfect English. Shocked, Alina responded, "This is Captain Alina Reyes of the CSS Prometheus. We are humans from Earth, seeking aid. How do you know our language?" There was a long pause before the voice replied, this time with a note of disbelief. "Impossible. The human species was eradicated 50,000 years ago by order of the Galactic Council. Your planet was destroyed." The crew stood in stunned silence as the truth of their situation became clear. They were not saviors looking for a new home. They were survivors of a long-forgotten genocide. Rage boiled within Alina as she thought of the billions lost, of the home they could never return to. With steely determination in her voice, she addressed her crew. "We may be the last humans in the universe, but by God, we will not go quietly." The Galactic Council will pay for what they've done. As the Prometheus was drawn into a tractor beam, Elena and her crew prepared themselves. They were no longer explorers seeking a new home. They were now Avengers, the last remnant of humanity awakened to rain vengeance upon those who had destroyed their world. Little did the Galactic Council know, they had just awakened a force that would shake the very foundations of their power. Humanity, with its unbreakable spirit and fierce determination, was about to remind the galaxy why they had been feared in the first place. The CSS Prometheus, carrying the last hope of humanity, was pulled towards an uncertain future. But one thing was certain, the galaxy would never be the same again. Preparation and infiltration. The CSS Prometheus hung suspended in a massive hangar, dwarfed by the gleaming alien architecture of the Galactic Council's outpost. Captain Elena Reyes and her small crew stood defiantly before a panel of diverse alien species, each regarding the humans with a mix of curiosity, fear, and in some cases, poorly veiled hostility. So, the eradication was not complete, mused Arbiter Zixtal, a tall, avian creature with iridescent feathers. A most unfortunate oversight. Elena's fists clenched at her sides. Unfortunate. You destroyed our homeworld, murdered billions, and you call it an unfortunate oversight. Security Officer Ava Chen placed a calming hand on Elena's shoulder, whispering, "Easy, Captain. We're outnumbered and outgunned. We need to play this smart." Xander Callis, ever the diplomat, stepped forward. "Honored Arbiter, we come seeking understanding. Why was humanity deemed such a threat?" Zixtal's head tilted, compound eyes blinking rapidly. "Your kind advanced too quickly, too unpredictably. The mathematical models showed a 97.3% probability the humans would dominate the galaxy within a millennium, subjugating or destroying all other sentient life." Tarek Nasser, the engineer, scoffed. "So you destroyed us based on a prediction. Some advanced civilization you are." The tension in the room was palpable. Elena could see guards fingering their weapons, ready for any sign of aggression. She needed to defuse the situation. "Arbiter," she said, forcing calm into her voice, "what's done is done. We can't change the past. But we are here now, the last of our kind. What do you intend to do with us?" The alien council members conferred in hushed tones before Zixtal spoke again. "You will be studied, your ship's technology examined. Perhaps in time, you may be granted a small colony world under strict observation." Elena nodded, seemingly accepting their fate. But inside, her mind raced with plans. They would play along for now. Over the next few months, the humans of the Prometheus integrated into the Galactic Council's society, all while secretly preparing for their vengeance. They were assigned quarters in a remote section of the massive space station, allowed limited access to Council technology and archives. Xander immersed himself in the Council's vast libraries, absorbing millennia of scientific advancements. Tarek worked tirelessly in the engineering base, ostensibly helping maintain Council ships while covertly studying their weapon systems. Ava, with her keen tactical mind, memorized the station's layout and security protocols. Elena, as their leader, took on the hardest role, building relationships with various alien species, particularly those who seemed discontent with Council rule. She found allies in unexpected places. The Volcrin, a silicon-based life form whose homeworld had been stripped for resources. The Nyx, a race of empaths who abhorred the Council's cold logic. And the Kith, nomadic traders who chafed under strict Council regulations. Late one night, in their secured quarters, the human crew gathered to discuss their progress. "The Council's technological advancement is incredible," Xander reported, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "But they've grown complacent. There are weaknesses we can exploit." Tarek nodded in agreement. "Their ships are powerful, but inflexible. With some modifications, the Prometheus could outmaneuver anything in their fleet. And I've identified at least 3 other species willing to support us If we make a move against the Council, Elena added, the Galactic Council's rule isn't as absolute as they'd like us to believe. Ava, ever the voice of caution, spoke up. That's all well and good, but we're still just 5 humans against an entire galactic civilization. How can we possibly hope to succeed? Elena's eyes gleamed with determination. We have something they don't, something they've forgotten to fear: human ingenuity and the will to survive against all odds. We'll use their own technology against them, turn their allies to our cause, and strike when they least expect it. Over the next few weeks, their plan took shape. Using the limited access they'd been granted, they began to infiltrate the Council's systems. Xander created a series of sophisticated viruses designed to lie dormant until activated. Tarek secretly upgraded the Prometheus, incorporating advanced Council tech into its systems. Ava, under the guise of cultural exchange, trained with various alien security forces, learning their tactics and identifying their weaknesses. Elena continued to build her network of potential allies, promising a new order where all species would have a voice. As their preparations neared completion, Elena gathered her crew for one final meeting. Tomorrow, she said, her voice low but intense, we make our first move. Tarek, you'll overload the station's power grid, creating a diversion. Xander, that's when you'll activate your viruses, crippling their communications and defense systems. Ava, you'll secure us an escape route to the Prometheus. She paused, looking each of her crew in the eye. What we're about to do will change the course of galactic history. We may not live to see our ultimate victory, but we will light a fire that the Galactic Council can't extinguish. For Earth, for humanity, for all those the Council has oppressed, we will have our vengeance. As the others nodded solemnly, Elena felt a mix of pride and sorrow. These 4 individuals carried the legacy of an entire species on their shoulders. They were about to strike the first blow in a war that would reshape the galaxy. Little did they know, their actions would set in motion events beyond even their wildest imaginations. The last remnants of humanity were about to remind the galaxy why they had once been considered the most dangerous species in existence. As they retired to their quarters for one last night of rest, the station hummed around them, blissfully unaware of the storm that was about to break. Tomorrow, the legend of humanity's return would begin to spread across the stars, igniting hope in some and terror in others. The vengeance of Earth was at hand. The first strike. The massive space station Nexus 7, pride of the Galactic Council, hung serenely against the backdrop of a swirling nebula. Its gleaming spires and interconnected modules housed representatives from 1,000 worlds, all blissfully unaware of the chaos about to unfold. In the bowels of the station, Tarek Nasser's fingers flew across an alien console, his brow furrowed in concentration. Initiating power surge in 3, 2, 1. Suddenly, the station's lights flickered and died. Emergency klaxons blared as confused aliens of various species scrambled in the darkness. Power grid overload successful. Tarek's voice crackled through the secure comms. You're up, Xander. In a different section of the station, Dr. Xander Callis grinned as he activated his carefully crafted viruses. Releasing electronic hellhounds now. Communications and defense systems will be down in 60 seconds. Captain Elena Reyes nodded grimly. Excellent work, both of you. Ava, what's our exit strategy looking like? Security Officer Ava Chen's voice came through, slightly breathless. Making my way to Docking Bay 17 now. Minimal resistance so far. They're too busy with the blackout. Elena turned to the small group of alien allies she'd gathered. A Volcrin crystalline entity, a Lith Nix empath, and a grizzled Kith trader. This is your last chance to back out. Once we start this, there's no going back. The Volcrin pulsed with determination. The Council has exploited us for too long. We stand with you, humans. With a nod, Elena led her motley crew towards the station's central command hub. As they moved through the darkened corridors, the sound of panicked aliens and malfunctioning equipment filled the air. Suddenly, A squad of Praetorian guards, the Council's elite security force, rounded a corner. Their insectoid eyes widened at the sight of the armed group. "Halt!" the lead Praetorian bellowed, raising an energy weapon. Elena didn't hesitate. She fired her stolen Council blaster, years of rage and pain behind every shot. The Praetorians, caught off guard by the humans' ferocity and their alien allies' unusual abilities, fell quickly. As they approached the command hub, Elena's comm crackled to life. "Captain," Xander's voice came through. "I found something in their databases. The reason they destroyed Earth, it's not what we thought." "Save it for later," Elena replied, her voice tense. "We're about to breach the command center." With a nod to her allies, Elena activated the door override Tarek had prepared. The massive doors to the Galactic Council's inner sanctum slid open with a hiss. Inside, a dozen alien counselors turned in shock. Arbiter Zixtel rose from his central podium, his iridescent feathers flaring in alarm. "Impossible," he screeched. "How did you?" Elena's blaster bolt struck him squarely in the chest, cutting off his words. The avian alien crumpled to the ground as chaos erupted in the chamber. For the next few minutes, the command hub was a maelstrom of energy blasts, crystalline projectiles, and psionic assaults. Elena and her team fought with the desperate fury of those with nothing left to lose, while the Council's guards struggled to mount a cohesive defense. When the smoke cleared, Elena stood triumphant among the fallen counselors. She strode to the central podium and activated the station-wide communication system. "Attention, all beings on Nexus 7 and throughout Council space," her voice boomed, transmitted across 1,000 worlds. "I am Captain Elena Reyes of Earth, a planet destroyed by the Galactic Council 50,000 years ago. Today, we reclaim our place in the galaxy and declare the Council's reign at an end." She paused, her eyes blazing with intensity. "To all species who have suffered under Council rule, now is the time to rise. We may be few, but we will light the spark of rebellion across the stars. The age of humanity has returned." As Elena finished her speech, alarms blared throughout the station. "Captain," Ava's urgent voice came through the comm. "Council reinforcements are on their way. We need to move." Elena nodded to her alien allies. "Spread the word. The revolution begins today." They raced through the station's winding corridors, fighting off security forces and dodging falling debris as the station's systems continued to malfunction. Finally, they'd reached Docking Bay 17, where the Prometheus waited. As they boarded the ship, Tarek's voice filled the bridge. "I've upgraded our engines with Council tech. We'll be able to outrun anything they send after us." The Prometheus roared to life, its human crew and alien allies trapped in for escape. As they burst out of the docking bay, Elena saw dozens of Council ships converging on their position. "Tarek, get us out of here," she ordered. The engineer grinned. "Watch this, Captain." He activated the new drive, and suddenly the Prometheus leaped forward at impossible speed. The Council ships became pinpricks of light, then vanished altogether as they entered hyperspace. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Elena turned to Xander. "What did you find in their databases? What was the real reason they destroyed Earth?" Xander's face was grim. "Captain, the Council didn't destroy Earth because they feared us. They destroyed Earth because they feared what we'd discover." "What do you mean?" Elena asked, a sense of foreboding growing in her chest. "There's something out there," Xander replied, his voice hushed. "Something ancient and powerful. The Council found evidence of it and traced its path. Earth was next in line. They didn't destroy our world to stop us. They did it to stop whatever's coming." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. They had won their first battle, struck a blow against the Galactic Council that would resonate across the galaxy. But now, a new, more terrifying question loomed. What horror could be so great that the Council would commit genocide to stop it? And now that humanity had announced its return, how long before this ancient threat took notice? As the Prometheus hurtled through hyperspace, carrying the last humans and the seed of galactic revolution, Alina realized their war for vengeance had just become something far larger. The real battle for survival, for all life in the galaxy, was only beginning. Escalation and revelation. The Prometheus dropped out of hyperspace near a remote asteroid field, its hull still bearing scorch marks from their daring escape. Inside, Captain Alina Reyes stood before a holographic display, watching as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. "It's working," Ava said, a note of awe in her voice. "Our message is spreading. Uprisings against the Council are breaking out on dozens of worlds." Xander nodded, his eyes glued to another screen. "And it's not just our allies. Species we've never even encountered are joining the rebellion. The Council's iron grip is slipping." Alina allowed herself a small smile. Their act of defiance had indeed lit a fire, one that was rapidly spreading beyond their control. But her satisfaction was tempered by the weight of Xander's earlier revelation. "We need to know more about this ancient threat," she said, turning to her chief scientist. "Xander, what else did you find in the Council's databases?" Xander's face grew grim. "Not much, I'm afraid. Most of the information was heavily encrypted. But I did find references to something called the Void Harbinger. Apparently, it's some kind of cosmic entity that consumes entire civilizations." Tarek, who had been quietly working on some calculations, spoke up. "Captain, I think I might know where we can find more information. Before we left, I managed to download some navigational data. There's a restricted sector of space the Council seems very interested in. It might be related to this Harbinger." Alina nodded. "Set a course, Tarek. We need answers." As the Prometheus journeyed towards the restricted sector, the crew worked tirelessly. Ava coordinated with their growing network of allies, directing rebel forces to key Council installations. Xander pored over the fragmented data they'd stolen, trying to piece together the puzzle of the Void Harbinger. Days later, they arrived at the edge of the restricted zone. Before them loomed a massive, ancient space station, clearly of non-Council origin. "By the stars," Tarek breathed. "That architecture, it's like nothing I've ever seen." As they approached, a transmission crackled through their comms. To their shock, it was in perfect, albeit archaic, English. "Attention approaching vessel. This is Guardian Station Alpha. State your identity and purpose." Alina exchanged bewildered looks with her crew before responding. "This is Captain Alina Reyes of the CSS Prometheus. We are humans from Earth, seeking information about the Void Harbinger." There was a long pause before the voice replied, this time with a note of excitement. "Humans? From Earth? Impossible. Unless. Quick, what year is it by your reckoning?" When Alina answered, the voice let out a sound that might have been a laugh. "By the Creator, you're the sleepers. We've been waiting for you for 50,000 years." Before they could respond, a docking bay opened on the station's surface. With more questions than answers, Alina ordered Tarek to bring them in. As they disembarked, they were met by a holographic figure, a human man in what looked like 21st century clothing. "Welcome, descendants of Earth," he said, his form flickering slightly. "I am the AI custodian of this station. You may call me Adam." Over the next few hours, Adam revealed a history that shook the humans to their core. Earth hadn't been destroyed by the Galactic Council at all. Instead, ancient humans had discovered the approach of the Void Harbinger and realized they couldn't stop it alone. They had seeded the galaxy with sleeper ships like the Prometheus, then used incredibly advanced technology to move Earth itself, hiding it in a pocket dimension to preserve humanity's cradle. The Galactic Council, formed centuries later, had discovered traces of this plan and misinterpreted it, fearing the return of the technologically superior humans and the Void Harbinger they seemed connected to. The Council had tried to erase all evidence of Earth's existence. "But why didn't you contact us sooner?" Alina demanded, her mind reeling from these revelations. Adam's hologram looked sorrowful. The station's long-range communications were damaged long ago. We could only wait and hope that one of the sleeper ships would find us. As the humans grappled with this paradigm-shifting information, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Adam's form flickered urgently. "We've been discovered. A council fleet approaches, and something else. Something massive emerging from deep space." Elena raced to the station's control center, her crew close behind. On the main view screen, she saw a terrifying sight. A massive council armada was bearing down on them. But behind it, dwarfing even the largest council ships, was a colossal, writhing mass of darkness that seemed to devour the very stars around it. "The Void Harbinger," Xander whispered in horror. In that moment, Elena realized the true scale of their situation. This wasn't just about human vengeance anymore. The fate of the entire galaxy, perhaps the universe itself, hung in the balance. She turned to Adam, her voice filled with determination. "Tell us everything you know about fighting this thing, and then tell us how to bring Earth back." As the Council fleet opened fire and the Void Harbinger approached, humanity found itself at the center of a cosmic storm. The last remnants of Earth's children now faced a choice: continue their quest for vengeance, or rise to become the guardians of all life in the galaxy. The next few hours would determine the fate of not just humanity, but of existence itself. And Captain Elena Reyes, the last leader of a nearly extinct species, knew that the real battle was only just beginning. Final confrontation and aftermath. The ancient station shuddered under the assault of the Council fleet, its shields barely holding. Inside the control center, Captain Elena Reyes barked orders as her small crew worked frantically alongside the AI Adam to mount a defense. "Tarek, reroute power to the shields." "Xander, I need options against that thing out there." Elena pointed at the view screen, where the Void Harbinger loomed, its vast, lightless form seeming to consume space itself. Adam's hologram flickered. "Captain, I'm accessing the station's weapon systems. They haven't been used in millennia, but they're our best hope." Suddenly, massive cannons emerged from hidden compartments on the station's surface. Beams of searing energy lanced out, cutting through the council ships like paper. "It's not enough," Ava said grimly, monitoring the battle. "The council fleet is in disarray, but the Harbinger isn't even slowing down." Elena's mind raced. Then an idea struck her. "Adam, you said Earth is hidden in a pocket dimension. Can we bring it back now?" The AI's eyes widened. "It's possible, but the energy required, it would leave us defenseless." "Do it," Elena commanded. "Xander, send a message to all our allies. Tell them to converge here. We're making our last stand." As Adam began the complex process of retrieving Earth, the station's defenses weakened. Council ships, realizing the danger, pressed their attack with renewed vigor. The Prometheus, piloted by Tarek, darted between larger vessels, drawing fire and buying time. On the station, Ava coordinated with the incoming rebel fleet, guiding them through the chaos of battle. Then, just as it seemed they would be overwhelmed, a blinding light filled the view screen. Where empty space had been moments before, a blue-green planet now hung, majestic and impossibly familiar. "Earth," Elena breathed, tears in her eyes. But there was no time for sentiment. The Void Harbinger, as if sensing the planet's reemergence, changed course directly towards it. "No," Elena shouted. "We didn't bring it back just to lose it again. Adam, what weapons does Earth have?" The AI's response was cut off as the station rocked violently. A council dreadnought, in a last, desperate move, had rammed them. Klaxons blared as Adam reported, "Station integrity critical. Earth defense systems offline." I'm sorry, Captain. I failed." Elena looked around at her crew, at the planet of their ancestors, and at the encroaching darkness of the Harbinger. In that moment, she made a decision. "Tarek, bring the Prometheus in. We're evacuating." "Adam, upload yourself to our ship. Your knowledge is too valuable to lose." As they raced to the Prometheus, the full might of the rebel fleet arrived, engaging what remained of the Council forces. But all eyes were on the Harbinger as it approached Earth. Once aboard their ship, Alina opened a channel to the entire fleet. "This is Captain Reyes. All ships converge on the Harbinger. We die here, or we die on Earth. Those are our only options." The response was immediate. Every ship, rebel and council alike, seemed to realize the true threat. As one, they turned their weapons on the cosmic monstrosity. The Void Harbinger retaliated. Tendrils of dark energy lashed out, annihilating entire ships. But still they pressed on. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Xander suddenly shouted, "Captain, I'm detecting an energy buildup on Earth. It's like nothing I've ever seen." Before Alina could respond, a blinding beam of light shot out from the planet's surface, striking the Harbinger dead center. The cosmic entity recoiled, its form seeming to waver. "Adam." Alina turned to the AI's newly installed hologram. "What was that?" "The World Forge," Adam replied, awe in his voice. "Earth's last-ditch defense. It channels the planet's core energy into a weapon." Alina grinned fiercely. "All ships, concentrate fire where that beam struck. Give Earth time to recharge." What followed was a battle of cosmic proportions. The combined fleet harried the Harbinger from all sides, while Earth's World Forge fired again and again. Slowly, impossibly, the Void Harbinger began to shrink. With a final, reality-shaking blast from Earth, the entity imploded, collapsing in on itself until nothing remained but empty space. A stunned silence fell over the fleet, broken only by Adam's quiet words. "It's over. We've won." In the aftermath, as ships limped towards Earth for repairs, Alina addressed the survivors. Council and Rebel alike listened as she spoke of unity, of the need to face cosmic threats together. The Galactic Council, as it had been, was no more. In its place, a new alliance would rise, with Earth and humanity at its heart. Months later, Alina stood on the surface of Earth, breathing in the air of humanity's ancestral home. Around her, a new city was rising, a mixture of Earth's recovered technology and alien architecture. Xander approached, tablet in hand. "Captain." "Sorry, Chancellor," he corrected himself, nodding to Alina's new title. "We've finished decrypting more of Adam's files. There's so much to learn, so much history to rediscover." Alina nodded, her gaze on the horizon where the sun was setting. "And so much future to build," she added. As twilight fell on this new era, Alina reflected on their journey. From the last remnants of a forgotten species to the saviors of the galaxy, humanity had come full circle. The stars above were no longer distant, unreachable points of light, but beacons of new adventures, new challenges, and new hope. The age of humanity had truly returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again.